All right, Nick, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks here for just a minute. It's the offseason. It's time to get in these offseason topics, Nick. And one topic this offseason is the Seattle Seahawks and how good they are at finding hidden draft value. They can look at a draft board and know exactly where the gems are going to be and exactly how long to wait to pick those guys up, Nick. And I think, bar none, they are doing this at an unprecedented rate that nobody has ever done before. And they have just hit in this past draft multiple times.
Yeah, Miles, and I really love the story you've got on this. But before we go into this, Seahawks fans, look, Super Bowl weekend is here. It's right around the corner. We want to hear from you guys in the comment section below because I know you Seahawks fans know a thing or two about winning Super Bowls. Let us know what you think the final score will be of Super Bowl 57. Let us know who you think will win in the final score in the comment section below. And when you're down there, make sure you hit subscribe so that way anytime we post Seattle Seahawks content, we love talking about Seattle, it gets sent right to you and you don't have to do anything. But all right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Seattle?
Yeah, Nick. So first up, we're going to analyze the draft and we're going to start at Seattle's number 9 overall pick. And in this pick, they took Charles Cross, which was a great pickup. To get a great left tackle for years to come is always really solid. And Cross, he played very solid this year. He's a strong pass blocker. We knew that coming out of college. He's going to be a strong pass blocker. But he was equally as good of a run blocker per his PFF grades this year, Nick. And, just looking at the article, the interesting part here is that Cross, he was picked at exactly the right spot. ESPN, when they went back and did their redraft, they said we wouldn't have made any different pick at the number 9 overall slot, which is a very coveted pick. That's a top 10 pick. Seattle nailed it. So what do you think about Seattle nailing this pick, Nick?
Yeah. First of all, looking at that article, right? Most of the picks or most of the redrafts they're like different players, right? It's very rare that you get a team that hits the nail right on the head, especially later in the draft, right? Sometimes maybe number 1 overall, but after the fact, when you look back and say, hey, at number 9 they got it perfect. That just shows how smart the Seattle organization, led by Pete Carroll, is. They're really, really good at evaluating, drafting, and developing talent. That's sort of their core competency. The way they're able to, like you said, evaluate a draft board and say, hey, look, we take that guy, he fits in our scheme, he's going to be a day 1 starter. It seems every other draft they get like just a bunch of guys who come in right away, seem to be great Seahawks players, fit in with the scheme. Go back to Jordan Brooks a couple of years ago, obviously the 2 tackles this year. We got another guy coming up. I can go all the way back to the Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson days. Under Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks seem to always find the right guy for their system, and it's a credit to them. It's one of the reasons why they always seem to be competitive.
Yeah, Nick, but now we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. This is a guy that everyone in the Seahawks fandom organization knows by name now. He's an absolute ball hawk. That's right. We're talking about Tariq Woolen, and you'd think, Mize, they got him in the 5th. How much better could it do? Well, Seattle obviously didn't have another high round pick, but it is the ESPN now has Tariq Woolen going number 3 overall to the Texans, saying that he was the pick to make over a guy like Derek Stingley. Obviously, Woolen balled out this season. He is a lockdown corner for Seattle, the number 1 guy. He got multiple interceptions. He is just an incredible player. And now Seattle, a guy they got in the 5th round, is being redrafted at number 3 overall, Nick. That is crazy, is it not?
Oh, yeah. It just, again, what it shows is the Seahawks are able to find guys in the draft that fit their scheme. Because, look, there's a reason. I think Woolen was a good player and a good prospect, but there's a reason he went in the 5th round. He had some deficiencies. He had some concerns. The Seahawks were able to identify his strengths and his skill sets and put him in a position to be extremely successful his rookie year and probably will be the rest of his career. And like I said before, Mice, this is what Seattle does. Go back to Bobby Wagner. I think he was a 2nd round pick. Russell Wilson, 3rd round pick. You have Frank Clark, a 2nd round pick. Tyler Lockett, 3rd round pick. DK Metcalf, I believe, was a 3rd round draft pick, a 2nd round pick. I'm sorry. You can keep going down the list. In fact, this year, other guys. How about Kobe Bryant coming and have a nice year? Abraham Lucas starting right out the gate. Kenneth Walker has evolved into a really nice player. The Seahawks are so good, Mize, at finding guys in the draft that fit their scheme, what they want to do, and plugging them in right away and giving them opportunities to be successful. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Seahawks, as we've taken a step back and looked at other mocks and other potential moves this offseason, why going after a quarterback not named Geno Smith is not what Seattle is going to do. They seem to be all in on Geno Smith, and it makes sense. When you are this good at drafting and developing young guys from the 1st round to the 5th round, the one thing you want at quarterback is stability. because you want a guy to kind of, keep the ship steady as you go through some of these bumps with these young guys and start figuring out what they do best. Geno Smith proved he's that kind of guy, and that's why you're seeing all these reports that the contract talks between Smith and Seattle seem to be heading in the right direction. And again, it just shows Seattle knows what they're good at and they're sticking to it. And I think it's really impressive what they've done.